Hi guys, I am Chagwa L. Dangeni with Maths XYZ, and in today's lesson we will still be continuing with the concepts that we have started from our previous lesson, which is geometry in similar triangles. So with similar triangles, as we have done from our previous lesson, we will be continuing on the very same concept. Alright, here we have two triangles which are similar to each other according to geometry. The first triangle, as you can see, is much bigger compared to the second triangle here. And the reason for triangles to be similar in geometry, you must always know that the angle inside the two triangles, they should always be equal to each other. And also the corresponding side on the triangle should be proportional to each other. That would be reason enough for the triangles to be similar to each other. And also the reason for similarity, you must always show the reason for similarity in triangles, which is AAA, which stands for angle, angle, angle. Right, the symbol for similarity in geometry is denoted by those three lines drawn as if they're slanting on the side. So this is the symbol for similarity. Alright, for this case here, as we'll continue, even in our previous lesson, I did show you the reason for similarity in this two triangle. So when you are dealing with geometry in similarity, you must always give reason why the angles are similar. So with these two triangles, you can see that this angle, the angle of A, is equals to the angle of A prime. So the angle of A is equals to the angle of A prime. The same with B. Angle of B is equals to the angle of B prime, as you can see that with that sign with just one curve. And the angle of C is equals to the angle of C prime. Right, so this one here, now that we have proven that the angles inside the triangles are similar to each other, that only tells us that the angles, the true triangles are similar to each other. So that means that the triangle of ABC, it's similar. So this is the sign for similarity, as I've shown you before, guys. It's similar to triangle of A prime, B prime, and C prime. And reason for that is A, which stands for angle, angle, angle. This is the you must always give reason when you prove the similarity of triangles. Alright, another thing that you must also take into consideration when it comes to writing your angles in order is your triangle in order is that if, for example, for this case, we wrote a triangle of ABC, it's similar to, let's say, triangle of B prime, C prime, A prime. This is wrong. Reason being, I know it's the same triangle. You can always read triangle from any angle. But the reason why it's wrong, that you shouldn't write it this way, is that when we are talking about similarity, the first angle that you have on the first triangle should be similar to the angle on the second triangle. So here A, it's not equals to B, the angle of B prime. So already that's wrong. And B, it's not equals to C. So you must always write them in an order that the first angle is equals to the first angle on the second triangle. And here the first angle on the first triangle, the second, I mean to say, is also equals to the second angle on the angle on the second triangle, so forth with also the angle of C. So if you write it in this order, that the order is not corresponding to each other, the answer, they are not similar to each other, that would be wrong. So you must always know to write your triangle in the correct order. Alright guys, I hope you understood that you must always have your thing in order. Alright, and another thing, when we're talking about side, that the corresponding sides should be proportional to each other. We're actually talking about the ratio. So AB, and the first one, it's in proportion to the side of B prime, A prime, B prime, which is also equals to the side of AC, in proportion to the side of AC prime. And also the same with BC, it's in proportion with BC prime. So with this one here is just to prove more proof that this triangle, two triangles, they are similar to each other. But after having this, it's just full marks for similarity. Alright, let's go straight into a question and see how you guys can apply all of this when answering questions in similarity in geometry. Alright, let me just fill the box. Alright, so in this example here we have triangle ABD and also triangle, the triangle inside of the bigger triangle, which is triangle ACD. So the question here, it says determine the length of the unknown side in the triangle below. So the unknown side here is the side of Y and also the side of X, of which X is the length between AB and Y is the length between CD. As you can see that the length between BD is equals to 3, and the length between AD is equals to 5, and the length between E and D is equals to 2,5, and between E and C is equals to 2. Alright, the first thing that we can do here is to prove if these two triangles, they are similar to each other, and after that you will use the corresponding sides to find the unknown sides in the triangle. Alright, then to prove the similarity on this triangle, what we need to do is to prove the angles that they are equal to each other. Alright, here in the first triangle, which is triangle ABD, we have the angle of A and also the angle of B and also the angle of D. Alright, and in the triangle of ECD, sorry guys, I wrote D before. In triangle ECD, we have the triangle of E. Alright, we have angle of E, we have angle of C, and also we have the angle of D. So we need to prove if these two angles, they are similar to each, they are equal to each other. So let's have reasons on the other side, which is this side here. Alright, so let's prove first, starting with A and E, which are those two. Remember and also note that these two lines here, A and B and E and C, they are parallel to each other. As you can see, that these two arrows pointing upward, these two lines, they are parallel to each other. So the first thing that we can prove, the first angle that we can prove that is equal to each other is the angle of D, because it's easy to prove. Reason being, the angle of D is common to both the two triangles, the triangle of ABD and also the triangle of ECD. So the angle of C is common on both. That's reason enough to prove that the angle is equal on both triangles. So here we know it's equal because it's common. The angle is common on both triangles. Alright, and then moving on, let's prove about the angle of C and B, and angle of D will just go upward. So the angle of B and the angle of C, as you can see, we don't have proof that this is a right angle triangle. Reason being, we do not have that box here, the small box that they normally show for 90 degrees. Alright, now that we can prove that the angle of B and the angle of C, as you can see, that these are parallel lines, and with parallel lines, whenever they form a shape of F, as you can see, this is F here. From here to them, it's F. If we have the shape of F, then the corresponding angles of the parallel lines, they are equal to each other. So the angle of B is equal to the angle of C2, of which in here our C2 is this one, and it's part of the second triangle of ECD. So the reason for this one is corresponding angles of parallel lines, they are equal to each other. So with the third one, which is A and also E2, we know that it should be equal because that is the last angle in the triangle. So just to sum up everything, if B and D, if B is equal to C2 and D is equal to D, which is the same, that means that E should also be equal to A, because that is the only angle that is left in the triangle. So this one we can say for this case we are given. Alright, and then moving on, now that we have proven that those two triangles are similar to each other, that's not the question anyway. The question is to find to determine the unknown side, which is the angle of X and the angle of Y. Alright, and then from here, what we need to do is to use the corresponding sides. That means that A and B, the corresponding side for this one is EC. They are proportional to each other. And then moving on, we also have the side of AD. AD is proportional to ED, and also the side of BD it's proportional to the side of CD. So what we have here, we have this side here, AB, it's proportional to ED, corresponding to ED proportional. And we also have AD, the bigger, so we'll always start with the bigger triangle, and then in the denominator we'll have the smaller triangle, and then it's corresponding to ED. And also this one, which is BD, is corresponding to CD. Alright, then first we just have to substitute the values of the length on this so that we can find the unknown length. So with AB we have X, which is our unknown length, and then our EC, which is this one here, it's equals to 2, and here we have AD, of which AD is equals to 5, and our ED is equals to 2,5. Alright, and equals to BD, which is this one, is equals to 3, and our CD is equals to 1. So we have that. We are left with this equation here. So what we can do, we can use this one to solve for the angle of the side of the value of X, and also I have this side to solve for the value of Y. All right, and then from here what we need to do is to do cross multiplication, of which it will be 2,5x is equals to 2 multiplied by 5, it will give us 10. So that means x equals to 10 divided by 2,5. Alright, so with the second one here, we'll also do the cross multiplication. We'll have 5y cross multiply, and we'll also have 2,5 multiplied by 3. So here divide by 5 and there divide by 5. So our y here will be 2,5 multiplied by 3 divided by 5. And in this case, that's also 10 divided by 2,5. So I'll just use my cell phone since I don't have a calculator in today. So here we'll have a 10 divided by 2,5, which is equals to 4. So our x is equals to 4. And then we have 2,5 multiplied by 3, and also that divided by 5. So our y is equals to 1,5. Alright guys, that means that our value of y here is equals to 1,5, and our value of x there is equals to 4. We won't write the SI units since also the values of the other sides in this triangles, we were not told of any units like meters or whatsoever. So we'll just leave it as 5 and also as 1,5 because we were not told of any SI units in this case. Alright guys, I hope you understood this question as well, and if you didn't, you are allowed to just put it on the comment note, then we'll get back to you as soon as we can. Thank you.